Black Fire. I am your co-host, Ada Marie Babineaux, and
I'm that Mayne DeeWayne.
that Mayne DeeWayne, he's cool. He's on fire.
Fire.
So today we have a special episode. We are podcasting out of San Antonio, Texas, and we have two homegrown San Antonio, well, no, y'all ain't homegrown San Antonio Texans, but Texas filmmakers, because they've been here a while, who have really turned their professions around, their path around, and started filmmaking because of a need and a desire and a passion they have for history. So I'd like to introduce first Born Logic and Aundar Maat.
Yes,
and just welcome y'all to Film Fiyah.
Welcome.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for coming.
Yeah. I gotta start with the first thing that just popped in my mind before we even get going. Born Logic.
Yes.
How did that name come about? Because that is something I want to start with before we start, because I think that will get us into the conversation about you all.
Good question. So my name is a cultural reference. I'm a 5%er. 5% Nation is a group of people that started in Harlem, New York in 1964. The founder of our nation at one point was a part of the Nation of Islam. He left the Nation of Islam and started his own nation. And so my name is a reflection of that culture. And so Born Logic, born means to bring to life. It means to bring into existence. It also represents the number 9. So when you think about how long does it take to have a baby? About 9 months. So 9 is associated with the word born. And then logic is a rationale or a mindset, a way of thinking. Allah is an Arabic word that means God. So basically my names means that I bring about or bring to life a mindset that's reflective of God. And so you can read it from left to right, or you can read it from right to left. I born the logic of Allah because Allah's logic was first born through me. And so I'm not a religious man in any way, but my name reflects my culture. Yep. So that's where it comes from. I chose the name in 2000. I changed it legally in 2007.
Okay.
Yep.
That's dope.
That
That's
is, and I think that's a reflection of what you've come to do
Absolutely.
in life. Yeah.
It's kind of how I came up with that Mayne DeeWayne.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
I was going to hear the story.
It's just reflective of me being from Texas. When you say Mayne, you say Mayne. So that Mayne DeeWayne.
Okay.
Not really close at all. I'm just kidding.
I was going to roll
just
with
kidding.
you. I wasn't going to deny it.
No, I like that though. That's,
Yeah.
that's very impressive.
Yeah. So we want to just, what we talk. I think it's first good to talk about your journeys and how you came to, how you came to be, do what you're doing now, career-wise and life-wise. So, let's start with you, Aundar. So, what is your journey into filmmaking? Because you didn't start off even on this path.
not at all. It always
First of all,
been-
where are you from? I'm sorry.
Originally from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I traveled through New York, really got into culture and history there, introduced from my family members. From there, went into the military, traveled across the world, and then ended up here in San Antonio to get warm, and of course, ended up meeting some warm people, some very thoughtful people, and really got involved in the community. So with that exposure of travel and knowledge that I came into existence through that travel, it just made me aware of our history and culture. So here in San Antonio, of course, I was very fortunate to get involved in an organization that was very centered around our history and culture, and really took me to another level of further investigation of myself as an African. And then it really came down to the point where I wanted to share more of what I was learning. And of course, that kind of put us on a path together, because we didn't necessarily I didn't start off as a filmmaker and thinking about films. I just wanted us to know our story as a people and trying to find creative ways to share that story. So we was working, I had put together actually a stage play titled Message to the People, Story of Malcolm X. And we had performed it in Houston and Dallas, and of course here in San Antonio. And of course I was just doing it once a year, doing the birthday celebration of Malcolm X on May 19th.
An amazing project too, by the way.
And what happened was my brother came out and saw the play. And he brought his camera out and was recording. And he recorded it. Then, interesting, after the end of the play, we was just having a conversation, and he mentioned to me, he said, man, you know, we can turn this into a movie. I looked at him like, well, if you say so, brother. If you think we can do it, let's do it. But it wasn't my mindset to think about putting it into film. But because of his background and his expertise, he saw the potential in it. And of course, from there, we went into the studio and put that together and went through a process of putting that film together. And from that, we just wanted to continue on this journey, have continued on this journey of making sure that we document our story as a people and share it through film and other ways. So I'd like my brother maybe to add in with the story.
Because we first met at a play that he had written called Maat for Saruta. And so when I first moved to San Antonio, we had a mutual friend, and his name was Mr. Anthony. And he was the first person that I met in San Antonio. When my wife and I came to visit here before we moved, we just went to the Pika Plaza flea market.
I know that.
Military.
Yep, just going there to see what the city was like. And we met a black couple there. And we had such a good rapport that when we moved back, we just always stayed in contact with them. And so when I worked at Lackland, it's close to Pika Pika, so I used to go see Mr. Anthony on my lunch break. And he would always be like, I got somebody you gotta meet. And I was like, nah, probably, I don't really need too many friends. I'll get around to it, but it was Aundar. And so he kept saying we should meet. So Mr. Anthony invited me to the play because he was going. So me, him, and my wife went to see Baba Aundar perform this play. And I was blown away. It was really good. And that was my first taste of his work and just something culturally black in San Antonio. So when he and I met, we just stayed in contact. And at the time at Lackland, I didn't like my job. I wasn't doing much. And so in Wisconsin, before I moved, one of the last projects I did is I recorded a music video for my children and my nieces and nephews with an iPhone. That was my first time touching a camera. I never did anything video related, but I edited that myself on iMovie out of need because I knew someone who was a really good videographer, but he was sick and we were moving, so I just said, well, let me just put it together myself. And because I had done music editing and I was a producer for many years, doing video editing is not that much different. So I actually jumped right into it and felt comfortable. But in the back of my mind, when I did not like my job at Lackland, I kept thinking about the camera. I was like, I want to do videos, but it seemed silly, honestly, so I didn't pursue it. But I got to a point where I just said, well, I'm going to try to learn more, and I bought a small camera and started recording stuff. So fast forward, when Aundar and I were talking and he was saying he was going to do the Malcolm X play, I was there and I was thinking in my mind, well, I'll bring the camera so that when he does the next showing, at least he will have some footage to promote it. So I was really just there to capture a couple clips to give to him so he could promote the film. But it was so good that I was surprised that more people weren't there to see it because it was really good. And he looked so good in the lens as I'm looking at him, I'm just like, this is more than a play. It just seems like it's more than this.
He metamorphoses into Malcolm, really.
He does.
He is and I don't know if people understand, this man is a one-man show.
It is.
He had music, he had a soundtrack, he memorized the segments. It was really good.
I've seen the what y'all put out of that. And I've actually even seen you perform it on stage. And it really
well,
is.
That's how I came across
metamorphosis.
him from the film. That's how I came across you all.
So that was y'all's first project together, and almost your first project, like
Man, listen.
produced project.
But what brought you to San Antonio? I mean, like, what brought you here from
So my
Cleveland?
wife, we lived in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, okay.
My wife was a health care insurance agent.
Okay.
She wanted to be a supervisor in her office. They did not have any roles open in Wisconsin. So she started looking elsewhere. One place where they had a role was San Antonio. So we came down here in March of 2013 just to scope it out and visit. And it was super nice. People were friendly, and it was warm. It was 2 feet of snow in
Y'all are both
Wisconsin.
said warm.
Warm.
That's definitely one of the pluses. Yes.
And the cost of living was a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
We was like, you
Yeah,
know
it is.
what, we could make it work down here. So we literally decided in March to move, and we came in August that same year.
Okay.
Yeah, but I get people that come to San Antonio from out of town, and they'll move to certain side of towns, and I'll meet them, and they'll say, hey, where's all the black people at? If you go down 35 and take a right,
Yeah.
any exit, that's where we are.
Near MLK, right? Near But so you were basically writing in the military, before the military, because if you wrote a play, you have plays. I mean, how did the writing come about for you?
Now, that's very interesting because I never thought about writing. It was just document, again, our story in history. You know, I had read the autobiography of Malcolm X.
That's a
And
life
of course,
changer.
yes, and I think we all, especially as black men, should read that book. But I had read the autobiography, and I was just really impacted by the life of Malcolm. Of course, at the same time, I went and became an instructor at the school, so we were celebrating and honoring Brother Malcolm every year around his birthday, May 19th. So once I was no longer there at the school, I just saw I wanted to contribute to continue to share the message, the life of Brother Malcolm, because I think it's a lesson in there for all of us. So pretty much went in there, continued to do the research, went into his speeches, went into his writings, went into things that was written about Malcolm, and really put together the script. You know, and as Brother Elijah was saying, you know, we put together the soundtrack, and then we put together images, because we wanted to make it a full production. But what really, I think, gave it its final push was when my brother recorded on film, because as he was saying, you know, it was only a few people who was able to come out and see it live. But when we put it in film, of course, we had a premiere performance, premiere evening. But from that, we have been able to share it all over the country and probably all over the world. So that, I think, put us into our next project, The Walk on the River, because what we realized is that, look here, what my brother put in the film, now we can share our stories to all people all over the city, all over the country, all over the world. And it was interesting because you remember we was there at the corner of Hackberry and Center Street, and we started talking about just the history of black people in San Antonio.
Near the Carver Community
Yeah,
Cultural
right there at the corner. But why don't you share what we
Yeah,
done?
so my daughter was taking a DJ class there. And so on the break, she's in there. I'm just outside talking to Aundar. Because like I said, after we met, we were always talking, and all we talk about is history. That's all we talk about. And so standing on the corner, he was pointing out all the different institutions right there. And I was blown away, and my thought was, I bet if I don't know this, it's probably a lot of people that live here that have no clue that this history exists right here. And the first thing we talked about doing, funny enough, was maybe a tour. But then it's like, well, that's a lot of work. I don't know about all of that right now, but we was like, well, we're looking for a second project, so why not maybe make it a film? And that's literally how Walk on the River started.
And Walk on the River, I mean, for me personally, is in my top 5 films that I've seen, because I can relate to it so much, you know. And in San Antonio, our historically we have been 7% of the population, and
Forever.
And there's a certain, I don't know if the sense of pride of being black from San Antonio is where it could be, where I see it is from other cities. You know, I'm from Houston, I'm from Atlanta, but I don't necessarily always hear that same pride when black people say I'm from San Antonio. And seeing that film and seeing what we've accomplished in San Antonio, you know,
Our contributions,
our contributions, and how strong we have stood, you know, in the face of adversity, and in face of being only 7%, and the impact that we have made on this city, being less than 93%, not us, you know, that film gave me something to point to. And even though I'm a prideful person, it gave me even more pride to be black and from San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, it's a timeless film, but so what came first? Melanized Media is a company that you all started. So that came first before the film, or was that
At the same time.
Tell us about Melonized Media
Indeed.
and how that came about. Why?
So when we did Malcolm X, well, let me take a step back.
Okay.
So message to the people, we didn't really know what we were doing. And I think one of the benefits is that we knew we didn't know. So what we did is we put together a version of the film and hosted a private screening. And we got a lot of feedback from people of what they liked and what they didn't like, which made us really rework that into a much better product.
Message of the people, or
Yes, message to the people.
y'all did that for Walk on the River too.
We did,
Yes,
but we
okay.
learned that method from
Oh, okay,
message to the people.
okay.
And it's amazing now to think about how, and I use this with all due respect, how ignorant we were. Like as an editor, you know, it had no music. it didn't have any other scenes. It was just Aundar performing in front of a black screen in my garage.
I was going to say, because I remember talking to y'all about that, and
Yeah.
the studio setup was in your garage.
Yes.
And that was even more impressive to me, because when you see the final work, I wouldn't have guessed it was in somebody's garage, and that y'all were at the level of learning that y'all were. It seemed like very much more professional than it was.
And I'm gonna tell you, I think that come from the passion. Like we did what we lacked in skill, we made up for in passion and desire. And I think that that's the only reason we're still doing what we are doing, is because
Passion.
it's motivated by passion. And I want to say, honestly, I produced 3 full-fledged movies before I even felt comfortable saying filmmaker, because I did not feel like I was that. And I
Right.
felt imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, yeah.
I felt like I was just a dude with a camera who happened to be recording something.
Right.
No, I think that to admit that is major. You have people that are so arrogant that produce one film and think that it's perfect
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
they're a filmmaker and that they're winning. And I think you got to start at that very humble spot and admit to your flaws and admit to your learning and grow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And grow. I think you all did that very well, very well.
So when we did Walk on the River, we had a lot more experience because we did so many renditions of Message to the People.
What was some of the feedback that y'all got that really resonated to make the changes? And do you remember what
And
changes?
Message to the People?
Yeah, let's start with Message to the
Okay.
People, and then how it transferred over to Walk on the River.
Indeed.
Because you probably had less changes on Walk on the River than Message to the People because of things and lessons that you applied. So how did that?
Yeah.
It's funny to tell these stories. But
Because I recall a couple of things, but one of the things was that, you know, when we initially recorded, it's just me telling the story.
Right.
So people was like, hold up, this is nice, but we just don't want to see this brother just
Yeah,
telling
it's a
this whole
speech.
story. So, you know, we went in there, and I think that's what brought in some of the chapters, and then brought in, then we really started thinking, because they were saying, if they're saying they just don't want to see one person stand up there telling the story, maybe we could bring in some scenes.
Yes.
So now we go in and we start thinking about how can we create some scenes that would blend in and out.
B-roll footage.
So we did that, and then it was like, of course, then we talked about the music and the sound,
The
'cause
sounds,
in the
yeah.
back, you know, to give us. So I think those things was pointed out, and I think it was a great experience for us to have the community come in and see that. And then, of course, and it's very interesting because I think the community left invested in the
Yes.
project now.
Because we crowdfunded.
Yes.
They gave their time and money.
Yes. So then when we was able to bring out and premiere the final product, I think people really appreciated, especially those who had come out initially and seen the first showing. So I think it put us on the journey to making sure that we kind of continue that process. So even when we went into Walk on the River, we pretty much followed that same journey. You know, we was just putting together. We had interviewed. I don't know if y'all, because y'all are aware.
No, I saw
but
the first rendition
yes.
of, I was at the Carver Library, the first rendition of The Cut
Yes.
that you all initially did.
And the thing we did that I look back, if I could say it was probably one of the best ideas, is that we didn't go to market first. First off, we couldn't get people to interview with us, first off. Nobody trusted us enough to sit with us.
Really?
Yeah, the hardest thing was to get people to sit with us. And
Was that because you
That's
not being
interesting.
from San Antonio? Did that play any role in
I
it?
don't know.
Or
I felt like people was just not. It takes time for people to warm up. And it took time for us
Yeah.
to even
Yeah.
be able to sit down and interview people
Yeah.
because what we started to realize is that we can't just go in there asking questions. We got to go in there having a conversation with people.
Oh, yeah.
It's just getting them to talk to us about whatever, you know.
And the people y'all had in there were leaders, you know,
Yes.
and are leaders
And
in the
see,
community.
It grew from that
Yes.
because the first person to really sit with us, I want to say, was Mr. Glosson.
Mr. Glosson, yeah, because, yeah.
Mr. Glosson, Mario,
Mario.
Okay,
and
Silas.
Mr. Grant,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
Miss
Yeah.
Nettie.
Miss Nettie Hinton.
Hinton.
Yes.
Okay.
So once we had people that were more notable, who were open to talk, they
Told other people.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
that's
said,
the way
well,
it
you
goes.
should speak to
Exactly.
X, Y, and Z. And then, so the first initial interviews we made a 30-minute version of the film. And it was just taking the clips from the 4 or 5 interviews that we had. And we used that to shop around to solicit more interviews and to raise money. So we use it as a crowdfunding tool. And so our crowdfunding efforts were dual. We did it online and in person. So we would show clips online with Kickstarter like everyone else, but we would every month go to a different library and invite people for free to come out and watch it and solicit
I remember
donations
seeing the
after that.
Yeah, I mean, that, and that's the thing. So, 2 things. I wanted to know how long it took you all to write it. I know when I do documentaries, I don't necessarily write dialogue first. I usually get the interviews, dissect the interviews, and then let the interviews tell the story. But how long did it take for you to actually write it and put it in some type of framework?
You know, I think we had an idea of the frame for us, the story we wanted to tell. I mean, we wanted to center some around education and then business and social organization and basic church structure. But the organizations in the timeline was pretty much there. But I think what we also discovered was that as we interviewed people and they was sharing the story with us, you know, how you start to change your narration to kind of also fit what is being shared with you. So I think really it went hand in hand for
Okay,
us.
yeah.
Because pretty much we had started doing research. We had started going into the library, pulling out the books, going down to Institute of Texas Culture, pulling together photographs and everything. But then sitting down with the people, and almost, I think it felt like, brother, it was after we had gathered all that, then we put together the narration.
Yeah, because we didn't have
Yeah,
narration in the beginning. I don't even know if we thought we needed it initially.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes
because-
you
Yeah,
don't.
it tells
Sometimes you
itself.
don't.
Yes.
But after the 30-minute, I think you went back and wrote out outline, and we put it in chapters. I
yes.
think about 8 or 9 chapters that we had, and it was well written. And then after we finished with crowdfunding, we went back to the 30-minute version with more interviews, because we sat with about 20 people at the end of the day, and nobody gave us less than an hour. Some people, Mario gave us 3 probably.
I can imagine how
Yeah.
much y'all had to sift through
What?
to find just over and over again. And then everybody's stories that may interact or cross, so you try to connect those and,
It's-
you know,
It's the type of thing I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. Like
Right.
I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it, and I don't really know. It's like in the zone to some degree. Like when sports people say that they hit a stride,
Right.
that's what it feels like, because you just start hearing and remembering things that you probably would not hear and
Right,
remember.
right.
Well, I heard this person say this. Well, he said that in 2 interviews ago. Let's take that and put it with his. And we had to clip a lot. The narrator helped us a lot. We met at a message to the people showing. We met our narrator.
I'm trying to
Who's
think of
your
his
narrator?
name.
His name is Tony Jenkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
My aunt knows him really well.
Indeed.
And I remember going to one of your showings at the Artisan. I remember I think it was at the Artisan where y'all showed it one time, where I got a chance to meet him in person. And it's like watching the movie. Just like you're talking to him and his voice is so powerful.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know,
he
it's
had a
like
good
you're
voice.
watching the movie.
He came with someone that we
Yes.
knew, and they came early, so we got a chance to kind of talk to them. And talking to him,
It's like-
like, you know what, we might have a position for
You can hear it as soon as he starts talking.
Because it was so dignified. And so that's how we got Mr. Jenkins. He changed a lot for us. He read it. He read the script that Aundar wrote, and we tried to match whatever the people didn't say. We had him fill in the gaps.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
And how did you all go about? I mean, you said you did crowdfunding. You did Kickstarter. Or I hate Kickstarter because if you don't get the money, you don't get the money.
Yeah.
If you don't raise the money, I did
Yeah, it's
Kickstarter
something like
once
you
and I
don't get
didn't get it.
8%
So I
or
did
something like that.
Indiegogo
Yeah.
back in the
Yes.
day.
Yes. I
Yeah,
think
Indiegogo, you get it either way. You get the money.
Message to the people, we did Kickstarter, then we used Indiegogo.
Okay, yeah.
Now they have what, Seed and Spark, I heard is a good
I've
one.
heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the final budget for that? Do you have a final budget?
Message to, Walk on the River, we probably did 6,000. Yeah.
And I know you made that back 10
Absolutely.
times.
Yeah.
No, because it's a film that's to me it's a San Antonio standard. Like you have to
Yeah.
see your film in order to connect with Black folks in the city. It's a great historical reference
Yeah,
that everybody should see.
how the migration happened, and because of work and because of the different, people not wanting Black people to live on certain sides of town, or the deed had
Oh
it
my
written
God.
into the deed. Those lessons, and then how we finally settled onto the east side. I mean, all of those journeys, and I know it wrapped around the '60s, I believe, is where y'all kind of stopped at. But one of the more interesting stories within it was the brother that came he became one of the most prolific businessmen in San Antonio.
Oh, Charles
And-
Bellinger.
Yes, and it all started on a gamble that night.
Indeed.
And how they touch on that story, and they talk about the businesses that he started, and I mean the Black businesses that were on the east side of San Antonio.
West Side too, though. There was a lot of
Yeah.
West Side.
Yeah, West Side too.
And one thing about San Antonio that is so interesting to me, especially coming back, because you don't realize it as you're growing up as a kid, it is very apartheid. San Antonio, the way San Antonio is laid out, for when I was coming, it was Blacks on the east side, Hispanics on the west side, Hispanics on the south side, whites on the north side.
Yeah.
And that's and it's just weird the way we still kind of function like that.
Yeah.
But the east side is really turning right now.
East side, yeah.
It's not
Because they
all
want
Black
downtown to go
anymore.
back into there.
Yeah, it's interesting. What were you
But I
gonna
was going to say, because I think it's with the second film, and I know we had mentioned that before we started, the Walk on the River 2.0, the African influence in San Antonio was very interesting, because initially those were really the first two chapters of the original Walk on the River film. So it was just by chance we actually pulled that
Another
out
film.
because the film was, getting down to the point where it was already an hour and a half.
Right.
And we didn't want to go into 2 hours.
Right.
But because of that, it really set us up for our next film, the African influence in San Antonio. So when you talk about some of the things for us, the segregation and its origin of the city of San Antonio, it touches on that. I think it opens that up. But in that film, we also had Dr. Ranoka Rashidi, one of our, of course, he's an ancestor now, one of the great historians for us as a people.
Yeah.
But we had the honor of sitting down with him, interviewing him. And because of that, we was able to now connect, of course, Africans coming here
Right.
prior to Columbus. Now we talk about the Moors in
I was
Spain.
going to ask about the Moorish influence and
Yes.
how you point out that even to the naming of the streets
Yes.
in San Antonio, Zarzamora.
Yes.
There was a number of streets that y'all pointed out that when you look at it from that view and you say, oh, the architecture,
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And I
film's
love that
amazing.
you all bring that to San Antonio, because coming from DC, I started with Anthony Browder, who started not Walk on the Potomac, but something about the Potomac. I can't think of it. Is it Walk on the Potomac? No, it's not Walk
No,
on
it's
the
not
Potomac.
but
It's
a
Potomac tour, but he talks about what you all have done in the film, managed doing the film. He does that on field trips, which leads me to what you all have started to do too, which is come out of the film. And develop Black History tours, San Antonio Black History tours. So you all have just been going this straight line up, just from it all connects.
Yes.
It all
No,
connects
yeah,
and it
I
all
would
makes
say
sense.
that,
It's all logical.
Yes, indeed.
Logic. It's all born logic. The way you connect the film, come out of the film and do the history tours. Talk about how all this is the building of all this through Melanized Media. So tell us
Yes.
about Melanized Media and
Okay.
all the things that you all do for the city.
So after Message to the People, we realized we wanted to keep doing this work, so we started a business structure because we didn't really have one for Message to the People. And so at the same time of producing Walk on the River, we started Melanized Media. And so we started it in April 2018. We released the film in August of 2018.
Okay.
Yep. And the idea was just to have a business structure to support the film. Just Walk on the River, because that's all we had planned on. And we put Message to the People under that umbrella. And so the goal was just to produce films at that time. The way the tour started was because we would always host Q&A after film screenings. People would always be like, well, where are those places that you mentioned in the film? And from there, we started revisiting that initial idea, maybe we should do a tour. And then that idea came back, and it made more sense now.
And you were ready for
Yeah,
it.
we wasn't ready at first. But the other thing I want to say, when we first showed Walk on the River, it just led to more screenings. We didn't really know how many times we were going to get to show it. But one led to another, and it just really caught on really well. But the other thing is that when we first showed Message to the People, we really only thought we were going to show it one time. But the first one was sold out, and my wife kept telling us, well, if it's sold out, that means y'all need to do it again. And it helped us develop relationships with theaters. It helped us get closer to a fan base, and we really got close to our supporters, and that helped us with the next project. And I feel like that kind of kept going. We had the foresight to know to collect emails
I
from
remember y'all doing that.
the jump. And so every time we got a chance to do something, we were collecting emails. And so by the time the tour came around, we already had an email base.
Yeah.
And we already had a fan base. So the same people that watched the film were the people that started supporting the tours.
You know, it's been fun for me as I've been able to see this journey, you know, because I don't know how long ago it was that we met now, but I've seen each of these steps, you know, even
it
if it
makes
was from
sense.
afar,
Right.
you know, y'all starting the tour, you know, 2.0,
Yeah.
you know, all the other projects, and even to be blessed enough to be friends with you and have conversations about the journey along the way. And it's just very interesting to see it all come together and how inspiring it is, because, you know, there's a lot of filmmakers there's a lot of people who talk about doing something, you know, and to see people doing it, you know, is inspiration. I know it's been an inspiration to me as long as I've been going through my journey as well. So I applaud what y'all are doing. What do you have coming next? What's up the sleeves?
That's so hard. So it's so hard to say that because we try to pick and choose our spots now. What we are probably going to end up doing is a film on Denver Heights, which is a historical black neighborhood in San Antonio. So
On the east side, hello,
Indeed.
hello.
I think I may have talked. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
So we have a group of short films that revolve around more specific things in San Antonio, but we also want to try to do work outside of San Antonio too.
Yeah.
So we try to balance both.
I was going to ask about that, and I'm sorry if I'm hogging a lot of the questions.
No, you're fine.
I was going to ask about that, because of course to us here in San Antonio, Walk on the River is a story that, you know, everybody, you know, can relate to here.
It's timeless too.
But if you're in, you know, Oklahoma, black person in Oklahoma, you know, you may not relate to that as well. How is the film doing outside of San Antonio or Texas? How are y'all's?
Well, y'all are showing it online virtually, so
Yes.
people are.
We have shown the film online
Watching.
virtually. So
We talk about COVID, maybe.
yes, cause well, that's another part of that, but that's part of the journey.
Yeah.
You know, we have been showing the film in the theaters, of course, bringing people out, and was really enjoying that opportunity to interact with people. And of course, when COVID hit, of course, we released the 2.0 in February
20,
of 2020.
20, okay.
course, March of 2020, COVID hit and shut everything down
Yeah.
pretty much. Of course, you know, we was really searching because we was trying to figure out, now we can't get into the theaters, we can't bring the people together. What we gonna do with these films? Needless to say, Brother Logic's wife had suggested to him, I think, about why don't y'all look online and maybe start showing the films online on Zoom. So we took that up and set up everything and started showing the films online. Of course, we had at that time those 3 films. And of course, we was kind of rotating them around. And of course, I mean, but the great thing about it, we picked up a national audience.
Yeah, that was the same thing with Sabif, national audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we started seeing, you know, these films were not just here in San Antonio connect with people, but outside San Antonio. So that was beneficial. And of course, it also led us into another journey, and that was the idea of doing Black History educational presentation. Because we, you know, you can show the film so many times, but you're not going to necessarily get that same audience coming back to see the same film. But the idea is that we can start putting together educational presentations, which was really almost like films.
Because they had a video component.
Yeah, exactly.
The work is still the same, right?
So we started doing that, and it really picked up an amazing audience, a support system outside of San Antonio, which has continued to be there for us.
And we started doing them every Sunday. So every Sunday was like Melanized Sunday. So we started out with the films. The very first presentation that we did was the history of lynching. And so we put together a piece that, because at this time was around the time when George Floyd and things like that. So we likened that public execution to the history of lynching in America. Then we did one on reparations, because that had become a topic. So we did the history of reparations. We did one, Malcolm versus Martin, because during COVID they had the verses with musicians. So we took 2 historical figures, and we just started taking all of these different topics. Black athletes, because Colin Kaepernick had you know, brought some attention. So we talked about the history of activism in athletics. And we just took all of these topics and created little mini movies / presentations, and we would host them on Sunday evenings.
So let me ask you this. I mean, that is excellent. And then you all are still doing that with the Sunday series at the Carver Library, which is our another cultural hub. Are you all surprised of the hunger and the miseducation of that people are getting, and I'm saying the hunger for knowledge, the quest for knowledge, and them coming to you all? Are you all surprised
Unfiltered
from
knowledge.
the responses that you've gotten?
I don't think we realized how valuable people would see it when we first started, especially the presentations, because that gave us, because Aundar didn't really, he's a teacher for 20 years.
You taught history or English, or what would you teach?
I taught all kinds.
Taught everything. He was a teacher for 20 years.
Okay.
So we were really blessed to have enough knowledge at our disposal and know how to even be able to put together a presentation. And so because he and I are both students of history and we love history, I don't think we realized that everyone was not as in tune with what we consider basic.
Right.
But it was not basic to a lot of people, and there was a hunger for it online, and people would tune in, and really, some people every Sunday they would be there, and it surprised us.
So, what it feels like, and what you all are actually doing, you're history activists.
Yes, more so than, that's why I don't think we considered ourselves filmmakers.
Well, you're both.
Yeah.
Because you're doing film history in film.
Yeah.
But based on what we're experiencing now, how do you address it? How do you speak to that? Because you got to be rebellious to continue on, in a good sense.
Yeah, it took, if I'm really being honest, it took a lot. It was really hard, because people's desire for history is like ebbs and flows. It took a lot of strain on our personal relationship. I know I can speak for myself, my marriage sometimes, because the profitability can be up and down. It can strain relationships. Sometimes it can wear on you mentally, because you're constantly dealing with topics that are super heavy. It can have a mental effect. People look to you for answers when you don't necessarily, you didn't elect to be answering. I'm not here. We just presenting something. We didn't come to answer your needs.
They think you have a solution.
Yes.
As opposed to just presenting what it is.
Information.
Right.
Yep. And so that's a weight sometimes. People want to have conversations with us sometimes that we didn't sign up for. Sometimes, and I'm saying this with all due respect. Sometimes people always wanted to talk about these things, and now
That's
they
the main
use this
thing.
as an opportunity, and that's not. Our Q&As were really we host Q&As after the presentations,
It
after
became
the
heavy,
films.
huh?
People would
Heavy.
interject things that wasn't what we were talking about.
You know, I think, especially in today's world, and things like that, you know, we can sit around and talk. I feel a lot of us are on the couch because we haven't been able to have these conversations, maybe privately, maybe with one or two people or that are like-minded, but you really haven't gotten a chance to voice it. And when y'all give people a chance to come watch it, and an outlet to speak, and now they want to know what you think, and you're looking at the same thing that I'm looking at, and then and at the same time we're all trying to have this conversation, which is so important to us. But then there's another segment that doesn't know anything about it. So as soon as you start talking about it, they have no knowledge or base of knowledge to even connect with. So it's not as important to them, which infuriates or frustrates this group anymore to say, no, just listen to what we're saying. And I think y'all have stepped in a place where y'all are going to get the brunt of that at times. There's going to definitely be benefit because you're going to get so many people that are going to want to have legit conversations and add something to the conversation. But I think sometimes y'all are also going to have to be, you know, like the whipping post and just let me just talk and just get off my grievances because I've been living this and you've put it on film and I can relate so much. But that's the power of film. From historic or you know, made up, from fictional to non-fictional. That's the power of storytelling.
Because I really think because of the film, we have opened up an opportunity, not just for ourselves, but I mean other people are doing similar work and been doing it a lot longer than we have been doing it. But the idea is that we have opened up topics and subjects and ideas that sometimes have gone unnoticed, not recognized, not known. And because of that, of course, as you're saying is that sometimes when we open up these conversations, people figure we got all the answers too, you know. Well, that's not the case. We're just trying to figure out, just like all the rest of us, trying to work this through. But the benefit, and I say this, is that we have opened up these dialogues, and we have just, and by opening up these dialogues, I think people are starting to ask more questions. People are searching more. So I think there's an avenue for more film makings and more documentaries because what we have discovered is it's a lot more that we have not even uncovered. We're just scratching the surface. It's like the history here in San Antonio. We're just scratching the surface on some of these things.
Just San
But you
Antonio, not
scratched
even
it, so that's
Yes.
the important thing. You started it. You started the conversation. You started the dialogue, and that's the same thing. Just going to an HBCU, just knowing when you get there and you start learning all this stuff, you're just like, damn. Yeah, I mean, you feel like, damn, because there's so much that you missed out on growing up. So I think what you are doing is such a huge service to the community because, like I said, you if you don't know, you don't know. And so when you start knowing, you thirst for it. There's a thirst for it, to learn more, to take in more. But I'm wondering if people, because people are so, I feel, the complacency here is especially when you start talking about Black history, Black culture, I don't know if it's stagnant. I don't know what the right word I'm looking for. But do you feel, based on the stance that you all have taken to teach history, to expand people's knowledge of their culture, do you feel that you are, in a sense, isolated by certain communities?
Never.
That's good.
Everybody comes out. When we do a tour, people from all backgrounds and human families come. It's been like that since the film.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's a good question. I was curious about that too.
Yeah.
The response from
Because we're not, because
other
we're 7%,
communities.
and then it's like you're not just catering to us, but I'm just the
But it's our
willingness
story.
or the wanting
just-
to learn is more by other cultures
I wish,
as well.
I'm gonna say this. I wish people understood this, especially Black people. if I want Mexican food, I want to get authentic Mexican food. I don't want Taco Bell. If people want to experience Black culture, they want something authentically Black. And when we try to compromise, you're disservicing what people actually are wanting. People want to come to Black people for an authentic, unapologetic Black voice. When you start being something other than that, they don't want you if that's what you were actually doing. And I think that people from other ethnicities come to us for the tours and for the film because they want to know what is the Black experience. They don't want a watered down version.
That's
And if
awesome.
they did, they wouldn't, because if people don't like Black culture, then they don't want nothing to do with it. So you're not gonna alienate them because they were never gonna come to it anyway. But people that do want it, they want it authentic. And that's one thing that we learned because online, especially older Caucasian people would often come to us and be like, this is something that I've always wanted to have access to, but didn't know where I could get it from.
That's really interesting.
Yep. And it taught us
But
a
good
whole
to
lot.
know. But good to know because we struggling on that with just a Black film festival here.
Yeah.
We need to
trying
invite more old white people. I think that's what we figured out here.
But how do you get? How are you getting to the masses for them to? Because you all do corporate tours and
You do.
Yeah,
that
y'all
is
are
amazing.
everywhere.
Outside of February.
Yeah.
Because February is usually when everybody wants to do stuff, Black History Month. But outside of February,
I think it's twofold. I'll say this: do what the people are asking for, as opposed to, because there's a whole lot of stuff we want to do, but we try to put that to the back to give what the people are asking for. And I think that comes from being close enough to our audience that we can hear what they're saying. Because we always, no matter what we've done, we've always talked to the people that we're serving. I think the second thing is understanding that if you say that this is what I want to do, and if we say we want corporate and our audience hears that, our audience is going to go find corporate for
Right.
us. The people bring us everything. If we say we want interviews, the people going to bring us interviews.
yeah.
If we say we want to go into corporate, people that work at corporate are going to tap the corporate people on the shoulder and say, go get them. That's almost always how we get into any door is through the people.
Are y'all surprised by
Yeah.
the success of everything? And I know there's still struggles because we always look in and everything looks beautiful, whatever. But I know there's still struggles. But are you surprised of the response and the diverse interests that are
Yes.
coming forward?
Yes, and I say yes and no because we're surprised, pleasantly surprised that we have an audience, a diverse audience, and people just honestly want to know the truth.
Yes.
And one of the things that we have definitely tried to always put in our films and our presentations is that what we know as the truth.
Right.
You know, and let us have conversations around this truth.
Yeah.
The other
The
thing,
truth is being
well, we're saying the truth from our perspective.
okay.
I'm
'cause-
talking
'cause-
about from the Black perspective.
Right. But I'm
history.
saying the truth right now is being something that is being overturned, is being bastardized, is being criticized, is being denied. You know, they're taking African American studies from schools, taking DEI. So
well, but
to
see-
get to that truth,
Yeah.
is a
you know,
challenge.
the whole idea is they say truth crushed the earth will always rise again. So you can't deny truth. So
Yes.
the fact is that as much as these programs may be trying to whitewash and take away these programs, what we've found that's been most important for us has been self-reliance, self-determination for us.
Yes.
See, we're not depending on someone else to come
Yes.
and help us tell the story. We're saying this is our story, and you know we might not make the necessary resources up front that we want to make, but the idea we're going to tell our authentic, truthful story as a people, and I think that's what people want, and that's what people will support. So, in face of the challenges and confusion that's going on, I think it's more of a time of clarity more than anything. And I think through films and through other ways that we can reach people, we have an opportunity, a golden opportunity, to maintain our honest, authentic voices and tell our story. And I think that's where we're going to find the most support from.
And
that's awesome.
I think you could relate to this. We took the Master P route.
Yep. Pop trunk.
we own our masters.
Yeah.
We own every project that we do. And through ownership, we can pull it out whenever we want to monetize it. And also because we have strived to create a direct connection to the people as opposed to corporations and companies, we can always survive through the people and through our immediate fan base. And so that way, regardless to what government structures do or what corporations may choose to do, we always have a base that we can go back to regardless. And that way we can, not only is our monetary income then independent, then our choices and the stories we want to tell become independent.
And that's the key word.
Yeah.
Independent. That's the key word. Independent filmmaking.
And I think it's important to understand history. A lot of times we think these things are new. This is I mean, if we didn't really blunt, this is not Trump's first time in office. We should not be surprised.
No.
And
No,
on
we
top
not.
of that,
We not, believe me.
I'm just saying the general populace really should not be. And also I think that we have to really take a step back because history repeats itself.
It's
We
cyclical.
say they are taking things out of the textbooks, but there was a time when those things were not in the textbooks.
yeah.
And we were getting beat, slashed, and killed for even reading,
So-
trying to read, learning to read.
I think Coretta Scott King has said that we look at progress as if it's a mountaintop, and it is a series of mountains, and every generation is going to be challenged with a peak in the valley. And so every generation has to rise to an occasion, and it's never just we're at a certain space, especially for us as Black people here in America. We really, that's why the history is so important. I can't stress it enough, because if you understand the history, you see that there are cycles, and if you truly understand the history, this is a fight that we are always going to have because we live in a society that has demonized us as a people.
Yep.
That's just a fact. We were considered 3/5 human. You think the same people that considered us 3/5 human are going to look at us in the same light as they look at themselves or on an equal playing field? That's never going to happen. And so as opposed to trying to change how we are viewed by the general populace, we'd be better served trying to change how we view ourselves and teaching us about us. And if others want to listen to that conversation, they can benefit, but we're not talking to them per se. The conversation is open, but if someone else in the peripheral hears it and benefits from it, then that's good, but that's not the goal. And as long as we keep trying to force the greater society to look at us a certain way, we just gonna be spinning our wheels and wasting our time.
I 100% agree.
So we gotta talk to one another and do what we think is right for our next generation and let that be the focus. And if we continue to do that, I think that we'll be better off. Just say it like that.
I think that's a great comment right there.
Yes,
And a great comment to, start coming towards the end of the show. And I look at the way that, just a little bit back into Walk on the River, on how that comment right there is kind of sums up what Walk on the River is, because we have the power within ourselves. And I do think outside influences, make you question it at times. And so people start trying to rely on outside instead of what we already have inside. And I think us telling our stories, everybody at this time is probably going to be talking about it, but I seen Sinners last night. And, to see the way that Ryan Coogler put that story in action and put it on film, and the cinematic way that he told that story. And I don't want to, what do they call it? Spoilers. I don't want to do any spoilers out there. But I think that the way he did it is a way that helps connect us within the way of telling that story and telling it from the inside. So I thank y'all for doing that. I see it also in my journey too, with teaching the kids. One time I was looking for somebody to teach me. Now I'm looking to teach somebody else. And
Pass on the baton.
and I appreciate y'all brothers doing that, especially for us here in San Antonio, because we get so many people here all the time talking about it, but y'all are doing it.
One thing I want to
Go ahead.
One thing I want to say about Walk on the River in San Antonio in general, the story was very well documented. I would never want to talk about that film and not say how well documented the Black history in San Antonio was and is. It may not have been well known, but there was a book by a sister that documented the history that we use as a guideline. A gentleman by the name of Anthony Mason, his last name was Mason, I always forget his first name, but he had a doctoral dissertation that was a book that we use as a reference. The Register newspaper, which was started by the Bellinger family, had been in existence from 1937 into the 2000s, was a great documentation. The Snap newspaper was a great documentation. UTSA houses an archive from Claude Black and from Sterling Houston and Miss Nettie Hinton. And we had access to all of those papers, their personal emails and all of that they had donated to UTSA. There was really good documentation. And I don't know if people had realized that or put it all together, but that it wasn't like we were starting from scratch. People here did a really good job of documenting their history. And I think the Black community in San Antonio needs that recognition, because I came from Gary, Indiana, which is 86% Black. And I don't think that level of documentation was present in that city the way that it is here. The other thing is that the people told a story. We did not do anything. I'm not gonna say we didn't do anything, but we really just filmed people telling the story. And they did a really good job. And we had the pleasure of getting close enough to people who were really tapped in, who really lived it. Mario Salas and T.C. Calvert, I always think about them, because if you could get the both of them to kind of stamp what you're doing as far as history, nobody could tell us nothing after that. After we interviewed them and they endorsed the project, and they come back to us and gave us a pat on the back, nobody could say nothing to us after that.
And I know they're proud to have been documented too.
And they loved it. They loved it.
And I would just add to that is that the fact is, I think we were just fortunate enough to put it in a format in film where the story could be shared. Because as my brother is saying, is that pretty much the story was already there. It's like, you have the puzzle already there. It's just a matter of putting the puzzle together. So we was fortunate to be able to do that and then share the story. But I add this also is that the story that we tell here in San Antonio is a story that can be told all across this country. Pretty much anywhere you find a Black population in a southern town or a northern town, you can tell the story. And what we always hope is that our film, as others are doing, would maybe inspire or encourage and give some kind of instruction to what we can do in other places. Because we should go across this country telling these stories, researching, documenting our history, telling our story as a people. Because ultimately, before it becomes that point where pretty much everything is whitewashed, we need to make sure that we have resurrected our stories, documented, shared it, so
Blackwash it.
See it through our eyes, melon eyes. Media. Yes. So that's the idea. And so hopefully that whatever we've been able to accomplish and do here, we hopefully will inspire others to do wherever they are.
Indeed.
And on that note, I want to thank you both for spending this time with us. I want everybody to go to meloneyesmedia.com and also San Antonio History Tours.com.
San Antonio Black History Tours.com.
San Antonio
Any
Black
social
History
medias?
Tours.com.
Melon Eyes Media on Instagram and Facebook. San Antonio Black History Tours on Facebook.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Appreciate y'all for having
Thank
me.
y'all
y'all.
for coming.
Yeah,
This is our second official episode, so
All right.
we appreciate y'all being with us on our
appreciate
journey
y'all.
as
Film
well.
Fire.
Film
Film Fiyah.
Film Fire.
Fire.
Thank you.